One of these three women is a mafia wife. Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Rosalie Bonanno.
Number two.
My name is Rosalie Bonanno.
Number three.
My name is Rosalie Bonanno.
Only one of these people is the real Rosalie Bonanno and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Actor and raconteur Orson, star of Mama's Family, Vicki sports commentator and author J. Johnstone, and to tell the truth's very own Kitty Carlisle. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Lynn Swann.
Oh, good morning, and good morning, panel.
And good morning to you.
Jay, come on, get in that chair. What's the problem here?
I'm enjoying myself.
We'll get right into the story presented by our first team of challengers, all three of whom claim to be Rosalie Bonanno. And here is her story. Please read along with me. I, Rosalie Bonanno, am married to the mafia. When I became engaged to my husband, Bill, I didn't know he belonged to one of the country's top mafia families. His father is Kingpin Joe Bananas Bonanno. I was even more shocked to learn that my father, Salvatore Profaci, was also in the mafia. I knew him as a businessman. Even though my underworld roots were deep, I sure wasn't prepared for life as a mafia wife. My husband was rarely home on weekends. We had no bank accounts and no insurance. Often we were dogged by the FBI and harassed by news reporters. Many times I was told to make dinner for an army of mobsters. Years ago, my husband was sent to federal prison. I was forced to take 3 jobs just to make ends meet. Somehow, I kept our children in Little League, the Boy Scouts, and in church. Finally, I'm telling my story here and in my book, Mafia Marriage, signed Rosalie Bonanno. We'll find out more about this mafia marriage right after this. Welcome back. Panel, these 3 people all claim to be Rosalie Bonanno, who is married to the son of a mafia kingpin. So we'll start the questioning. Kitty, with you.
Thank you. Number one, when did you find out about your own father?
My husband told me about it.
And number two, you grew up in that household and never knew anything that was wrong?
I was sent to a convent when I was 7.
And number two, when did you get out?
When I was 18.
And number three, did you have a bank account or any kind of identification when you were at home?
I never had anything to do with money. Everything was always taken care of in my family.
I see. And number two, when you were married, was this a kind of an arranged marriage between separate families?
No, my father and Joe Bonanno were very close friends, so we all grew up together. I was in love with my husband long before I met him.
And number one, is he...
Oh, thank you. Jay.
Number two, what does a made man mean?
That means that he's fingered.
Number three, where do you live now? Where's the Bonanno family home?
I live in Tucson, Arizona.
Number one, when your husband and your father went out to a lot of meetings, what part of the cities of New York did they go to?
I really don't know.
Number two, when you went to the convent, you got out at 18, you got married. What kind? Was it a big wedding? Was it the singers come like the Italian weddings you see on television?
Oh, it was an enormous wedding, and finally the men took over planning it. It was so big.
Number three, where was the wedding held?
And that's it, Jay. Oh, time's up. Time's up. Vicki.
Well, I want to know, number one, what's going to happen to you as a result of this book? I mean, aren't you afraid?
No, I'm not afraid. It's my story.
And
I haven't hurt anyone, I don't think.
There will be no retaliation, or?
I don't think so.
Number two, how long were you married before you found out about your husband?
Well, I actually had to read it in the newspaper. When I was growing up, the newspapers were all cut out. All the articles were cut out. But when my husband was sent off to prison was when I read it in the newspaper.
And number three, didn't that frighten you?
I was frightened, but I never personally had any violence or saw any violence. So I was frightened, but that's not what I had seen at home. I grew up in a lot of loving atmosphere and family, so it didn't really mean anything to me for a long time.
Number one, what were you...
Thank you, Vicki. Orson.
I think I knew you for Salvatore Profaci. Good man. No, I did. I knew a guy named Rocky Palladino. He's my friend in the mafia. He used to call me Oscar Beans. Hey, Oscar, sit down. Beans, hello. Number one, did you ever really cook for all of these guys? Did you make big vats of spaghetti sauce?
Yes, I did.
Number three, in the movies, there's always a fat Italian guy in the kitchen making it. He says, you put a little oregano. Did they have the women working in your family?
Abbiamo sempre lavorato noi, eh?
Ah, bene, grazie, prego. Number two, tell me about yourself now. Was he a loving husband?
Well, he was charismatic.
Did he take you out on Saturdays? I've heard that the Saturdays are the wives' night to be taken out.
When we would go out, we were treated like royalty.
Yeah,
but that wasn't very often.
I'm treating you like royalty in case it's you, number two.
Orson, thank you. The time is up, panel, and time for you to vote for either number one, number two, or for number three. Our team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote with a guarantee of $1,000. And if the panelists vote completely, the team will receive $3,000. So, panel, if you're ready to cast your ballots, Kitty?
Well, it's very hard to tell because we really didn't get any definitive answers from anybody. But I like number one because she said, I don't think I'm hurting anyone.
Okay. Jay?
I go along with Kitty. I like number one. I didn't necessarily agree with some of the answers of number two and three.
Vicki?
Well, gosh, they were all really good. I don't really know. And the reason I voted for number three was because she said that she grew up in a loving home, and I can't imagine anybody just kind of hanging in there like this unless it was all very loving around them and they had no clue.
Okay. Orson?
Well, I'm a made panelist, you see that, and I don't think it meant I got fingered or got the finger or anything. I voted for number three because she looks like she has a little spaghetti sauce on her. No, she just, she's beautiful enough to...
Smell that garlic from over here, huh?
She spoke Italian to you. Okay.
Sí, gracias.
All right. The votes are all in. Number one, you have 2 votes. Number two, you don't have a vote. And number three, you have 2. Now it's time to find out who the real underworld wife is. Will the real Rosalie Bonanno please stand up? Rosalie, I have to... When we talked about you being married to the mafia, everybody got quiet. When people find out that you were involved in the family in that way, do they become afraid of you?
Well, there's different types of people, and so I get received in different ways. Some people are proud to know me.
Yeah, and your children, how are they responding to all of this?
They're doing very well. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Let's find out who your imposters are. Number two, what's your name and what do you do?
My name is Marlene Selsman, and I just produced a CD called Louis Armstrong, the Composer, that is currently in record stores all over the country.
That sounds like you have to go out and buy one right away. Number three, you received 2 votes. Your name and what do you do?
My name is Marticia Palmer, and I'm a court-certified interpreter in French and Italian.
And the skill came in handy to lure 2 people, or at least one, Orson, into voting for you. There are 2 incorrect votes, and $500 a vote. Your team will receive $1,000. Thank you all so much for being here today on To Tell the Truth. We'll be back with a young man who, although is blind, is a football player right after this. We are back to Tell the Truth, so let's meet our next team of challengers.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Jamie Takayama.
Number two.
My name is Jamie Takayama.
Number three.
My name is Jamie Takayama.
It's up to you, panel, to locate the real Jamie Takayama, and this is his story. Please, read along with me. I, Jamie Takayama, am 14 years old. I've been totally blind since I was 5, but I never thought about what I could not do. I always imagined what I could do. Last year, I wrestled on my school's junior varsity team and had a 4-1 record. I also ran the 100-yard dash and tossed the shot put for the track team. This year, I'm playing football, offensive center and defensive tackle. I am not bragging. I just want everyone to know that blind kids can do just about anything if you'll only let them try. Signed, Jamie Takayama. Okay, Orson, we'll start with you.
Well, I think it's wonderful. I mean, you're obviously some kind of an athlete, but number 3, I wouldn't want to be in the grandstand when you were tossing the shot put. How do you keep from throwing it in the wrong direction, number 3?
Well, it's a lot of training. The coach helps me a lot.
Number 1, what's the story on the wrestling? What's the deal now? How do you know where to grab the guy? Just by feel?
Yeah, it's basically feel. It's pretty simple, yes.
Number 2, how's your social life? Do you date?
Yeah, as much as I can, I guess.
Yeah,
That's great. Vicki.
Number 3, where do you live?
Oh, I live in Arizona.
And number 2, is this a special school that you go to?
No.
It's just a regular public, high school, number 1?
Junior high school.
You're what grade are you in, number 1?
I'm in the 9th grade.
In 9th grade?
Yes, I am.
And it's just a regular 9th grade?
Yes.
And so you're out on the field, number 2, with guys that can see. How do you know where to run a play?
Just help from my teammates.
Help from your teammates? Do you have...
Thank you, Vicki. Jay.
Number 3, what's your favorite hold in wrestling?
Well, I really don't have a favorite hold, but it's basically I'm pretty big for my age, and I use my strength to my best advantage.
Number 2, blocking the opposing center. Aren't you worried about he's going to whap you upside the head?
No, I just go at him. Don't worry about nothing.
Number 1, what did you run the 100-yard dash in?
In about 15 seconds.
Number 2, you haven't...
Jay, thank you. Kitty.
Number 2, what is a half Nelson?
I think it's a pinning move. Yeah.
And whoever you are, you must have wonderful parents who brought you up so that you can do anything you want to do. Number 1, do you do your schoolwork in Braille?
Oh, yes, I do. My parents help me.
And you get all the books in Braille?
Yes, I do.
And number 3, how did you, the first thing you ever did that you thought was unusual, what was that?
I really don't know. It's like I had a lot of support from my parents, and I guess it was the love that, pulled me through.
I'm sure you did.
Okay, panel, time is up. Time for you to vote for either number 1, number 2, or number 3. Looks like a pretty hefty line to run some plays behind. Orson?
The 3 of them are great. That's a powerhouse team up there. I voted for number 1. I don't know why, but he looks like a stalker that could do all of these things.
Okay. Vicki?
Gosh, they all look like they could do all of this to me.
All of that to you?
No, I mean, they all look strong, and they all look like athletes. They all look very large for their age and strong. I'm going strictly on instinct. I voted for number 3.
Jay?
I like number 1's answers, so I voted for number 1.
Okay.
Gee, that's funny.
Kitty?
I like number 2 better than anybody on the team, so I voted for number 2.
All right, well, there are votes for everyone. Number 1 has 2 votes. Number 2 has a single vote, as well as number 3. Now let's find out who the real football player is. Will the real Jamie Takayama please stand up? Okay, you claim to know nothing about sports, or not a great deal about sports. You spotted him right away. That's terrific. Now, Jamie, when you're on defense and they're about to snap the ball, I guess most people would think you would probably go off sides or not know just when the snap is. Do you hear it, or is there something else that clues you in to when the ball is being snapped?
Well, sometimes my teammates will, call my name when the ball snapped, or if they don't do that, then I just have to listen, and when everyone else goes, I go.
Okay, so. Well, let's meet your imposters. Number 1, what's your name and what do you do?
My name is Gene Lee. I attend Palisades High School. I'm a senior. I plan to major in philosophy in college and pursue a career in medicine.
Terrific. Number 3.
Well, my name is Jay Park, and I also attend Palisades High School, and I'm a senior, and I plan to go to college and study criminology.
Terrific, terrific. Well, there were 3 incorrect votes at $1,500 a vote. Your team, at $500 a vote, your team's going to receive $1,500. Now, we also have some footage of Jamie in action, so let's take a look at it right now. Jamie's number 69 right there in front of you. You see, he's staying with his man all the way. He plays both offense and defense. He's an offensive center, and that's his parents watching him during this particular game. And you've got to have a great deal of concentration in football anyway, but obviously Jamie has a great deal more. And this is how he sometimes comes out to the huddle, let out by a teammate. Coaches always tell their kids to make contact and drive your man back, and right here, Jamie does it as well as any football player could be expected to. Thank all of you for being here today on To Tell the Truth. Jamie, absolutely wonderful. We'll be right back to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience right after this. It is now time to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience. So, Burton, who do you have for us?
Well, Lynn, today we have Connie Harkeen from Castro Valley, California.
Welcome, Connie. Connie, here's your chance to play one-on-one. You're going to meet a gentleman with 2 stories. Please welcome Milton Pitts. Milton? Connie, Milton is going to tell you 2 stories. Only one is a true story. If you can spot that true story, you'll win $500. So listen carefully. Milton, what's your first story?
I am the White House barber. I cut George Bush's hair.
Now, that may or may not be the truth. Here's his second story.
I've been putting things off my whole life, and now I'm president of the Procrastinators Club.
Panel, you can help Connie win $500. You'll have 1 question on each subject. First story, the barber. Kitty.
Okay. Is there a barber shop in the private apartments of the White House?
Not in the private department, I don't think.
Jay?
What time in the morning do you cut the president's hair?
I don't think I've ever cut the president's hair in the morning.
Vicki?
Oh, dear. How long have you been cutting his hair? Well, I have a lot of questions.
I beg your pardon?
How long have you been cutting President Bush's hair? How many years?
President Bush's hair?
How many years?
About 15 years.
Wasn't that a good question that Vicki asked?
Oh, shut up.
Now, when you're not...
I got a whole list of them here, and I...
Well, let me borrow one. Let me see if I can find a better one on that. Now, when you're not busy cutting the president's hair, does Sununu or any of those guys that hang around the White House sneak in for a trim?
No, I never do that.
You never? No. Well, congratulations.
One at a time. Okay, Connie, you've heard the first story. Now the second story, president of the Procrastinators Club. Kitty.
Sir, how many members do you have?
We have about 6,000 members now.
Ooh.
Jay.
List me one of your procrastinations.
I beg your pardon?
List the biggest of your procrastination. What have you put off the most?
Well, we put off things today that we could be doing tomorrow.
Vicki?
As president of the Procrastinators Club, what are your duties?
Well, we've been in business now about 6 years, and we send out newsletters, but so far, I haven't got any response to that.
Orson?
There's something I read every year that you guys do. It's celebrate New Year's Eve in April or something. What is it that hits the paper every year?
Well, I'll have to think about that.
At some future day.
Okay, Connie, you've heard the cross-examination. Is he the barber to the president, or is he the president of the Procrastinators Club?
I think he's a procrastinator.
Okay, Milton, what is your true story?
To tell the truth, I am the White House barber.
I'm sorry, Connie. We do have a lovely present for you, but Milton, for you, we've got $1,000 for stumping Connie. Now, we have a couple of pictures we want to show everyone. One here is a picture of you and the President Bush. Now, does he fall asleep in the chair?
No, he never falls asleep. He's always watching TV or we talking.
Okay. And this next picture is of President Reagan. Now, does he or does he not dye his hair?
You know, I worked on President Reagan for 8 years, and he never dyes his hair. As a matter of fact, his hair has about 25% gray. He never dyes it. When he puts water before he would attend a meeting or something, it makes the hair look darker. But that's his natural hair. I know because I saw him again yesterday.
Well, you heard it from Milton. He cuts his hair. Reagan went with the wet look. Thank you very much. We'll be right back after these words. Once again, we thank you for joining us here on To Tell the Truth. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the warm blanket of love that is George Gray.
Get out!
Got brain?
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye!
New half hours of The Weakest Link, hosted by George Gray. Feel the love today at 4 only on GSN.
GSN.